Go. Take that off. Yep, it is off. All right. Welcome, welcome. Let me turn up my volume a little bit. Test, test, test. Okay. Welcome, everyone. I have an announcement, something I want. Hi, Andy. Grace and Andy are here. Thanks for being here, guys. Nice to see you. So I have an announcement that I want to share, and then I'll actually fill in some of the details about the announcement a little bit later. And hi, Lori. Yay. Hello. And then after that, we're going to do a meditation, and then we're going to do our lesson. Oh, I'll give you the link. I'll put it right in here. It's just on YouTube. Yeah, I know there's just so much great music just available. The name of it is Beautiful and Powerful Durga Chanting Divine Feminine for Protection and Strength. So you could take down that too if you can't take the link down right now. I'll pop the name of the video in there. The name of the channel is Love and Peace, or Love Peace Music. Sorry, Love Peace Music. Sure, Love Peace Music, all in caps. Okay, that's the name of the YouTube video. You should be able to find it. It's got as you saw, it has a lion and a woman as the thumbnail. Okay, so I have an announcement. Then we're going to do a meditation, and then we're going to do a lesson, and we'll do our catching up, coaching, connecting, and all of that at the end. Unless if you let me know here, you're like, nope, I need to do that because I'm only going to be here for this long, and I need something. Give me a comment right there, and I'll let us check on that while I'm giving the announcement. So the announcement is that it's not like a huge announcement. I'm like giving a big lead in for not much. Just the announcement is that for the Sacred Spheres on Sundays, we are going to start having sort of assignments, if you will, about what to practice. And now here's the thing. Not everyone who's in Sacred Sphere is in QRID 2. But for those of you who are in QRID 2, I am going to give you an assignment of what to practice, which is fine that there aren't people who are in level 2, because they will be able to receive from you whatever it is you're practicing. And then when it's their turn, or you could just practice the whole time with them. But when it's their turn, they can practice something with you, or you guys can just connect and have conversation, or you could do something else. You know what I mean? Like, that's the idea here. Oh, wonderful. I'm just reading what Grace said about her pendant. So I'm going to make a little schedule of that just for about like the next 4 ones. I mean, that's just this month, this Sunday, and then, the following 3, and give us some instructions on how to practice that. Now, here's the other thing too, is that I don't think it's next week. Well, it might be next week. Yeah, actually, I think it might be next week in QRID. I'm going to bring an NLP practice session in. And so mark your calendars. It would be really great if you are able to come to that one live, because I'm going to do some demonstrations with us all together, it's going to be like an interactive lesson, I guess. But I'm also going to have you guys practice like on the session. So while we normally have our practices really in Sacred Sphere, for the NLP ones, I wanted to do as a practice interactive lesson, because also since Sacred Sphere also has people that are not in QRID 2, this is just what I think would be good is that you take the NLP practice that we do, and then if you want to practice it in Sacred Sphere with someone, kind of fold it into something else that you're doing as you're listening, and as you're maybe providing some kind of feedback, coaching, reframing, and whatnot. So I just wanted to get one in our closed container first. But the other things, the other items that we can practice in Sacred Sphere, I don't think, so far as I've contemplated it and, asked Spirit, I don't think we need an initial closed container practice session. So having said that, this Sunday, I'm assigning for us to lead a meditation. And so how we're going to do that, first of all, But by the end of class, and also I will email this. Now, I think I'll put this in the announcement. I don't need to put it here. But I will give you guys a heads up. I'll put it in the announcements in your student portal. So you get an email about that. And I can also put it in the WhatsApp chat, And basically, I'm going to say, if you want to review the lesson on meditation leadership, it's here in the course. It's in this module, this submodule. And then any other materials, I will let you know that that's there. So we're going to go into breakout rooms, unless there's only like 3 people that show up for Sacred Sphere, which it hasn't been that, I haven't seen that few people, in a while. Happens every now and again. But if we have enough, if we even have 4 people show up, then we can go into 2 breakout rooms of 2. And then you can lead the other person in a meditation. Alternatively, we could do, if it's 4, we could do it all. And then that would probably be better. Yeah. So let's say if there's 5 or more, then we'll go into breakout rooms. If there's 4 or less, then we'll stay in the main session and we'll take turns leading the other 3 or 4, including me, of us in meditation. So you can prepare it if you want, but just, if you prepare it, we're going to be practicing how to, it's perfectly fine if you write one. And this practice session is you just literally reading it to your sitter. That's fine too. As a stage of practicing. Or if you want to have it to where you're just loosely referring to what you've written, or be completely just intuitive, improvised in the moment. Now, sometimes when I'm going to do that, I do sit with spirit ahead and say, what is the subject for this? Or what is this, what am I going to be doing? Or, maybe even it's like, what are the 3 parts of this meditation? But sometimes I just show up, and then maybe with a little connecting, then we know what we're going to do. So there's many different ways that you could approach guiding a meditation. You'll only have probably 1 person. You might have 2 people that you're guiding in a breakout room, depending on the numbers, how many people there are, if it's even or odd, or, all of that. So just look out for the announcement that you'll receive both on the student portal and, it comes when it's announced in the student portal, you get an email about that. And that'll point you to anyway. Now, you also don't have to review the meditation lesson. I think you all are ready, but I'm just telling you in case you want to. Okay. So, hi, Holly is here now too. Hi, Holly. Did someone else show up that I didn't say hi to yet? So again, we're going to head into a meditation right now, unless anybody really needs something first, because otherwise we're going to do the meditation, then we're going to do a lesson, and then we're going to connect at the end. So I think that's it. If you have any questions about the announcement, maybe it can wait till the end unless you have to bop off. So just let me know. I'll just wait here for a second while I take a sip of water. And if nobody makes a comment in the feed there, then we'll get into the meditation. Okay. Looks like maybe we're all okay with going into meditation now. We're going to do an Archangel Gabriel. So excited to revisit this. It was like jumped out at me. Archangel Gabriel, joyful, clear expression. So go ahead and get yourself settled in. It's a 23 minute, 33 second. Okay. So for any reason, after I pull myself off screen and I hit play, if you don't hear anything within like 30 seconds, just let me know. Welcome to your sacred practice. In this meditative practice ahead, you will be guided to call upon Archangel Gabriel to open and clear your throat chakra and to release your expression easily and joyfully. And as you are settling in, you may take a moment here to set an intention for this time. Whatever feels natural for you, your intention can be specific or it can be much more generalized. Whatever seems appropriate and easy for this time, just calling, summoning even the light of your intention. And so we begin with the divine breath of life. And let's take 3 big, deep breaths to activate and attune your energy body. With these breaths, your nervous system is invited to relax, and a state of calm and ease may reside all throughout. You may welcome calm and your simple intention, knowing that any tension that is not needed now can be released. And coming into this now as you complete the cycle of 3 breaths, allowing your breathing to return to a natural pace. At any time you would like to deepen your calm or deepen your meditative state, simply bring your awareness to your easy breathing. And once again, inviting any concerns to just fall away. Any concerns that do not require your awareness for now can be put on pause. You are able to choose moments of calm and peace, and then you can be refreshed and returned to attend to your concerns at the proper time. And now, with that flow of breathing, I invite you to drop your awareness down into the center of your body in the solar plexus region. The center of your body. This is also the center of your energy. It is the seat of the soul. And as you allow your awareness to pool here, I invite you to visualize, sense, or imagine here that there is a warm glow right in the solar plexus region in the center of your being, a positive, warm sensation, very positive. And while it might be positive, it can also be joyful. This warm glow has the capacity to also be calm and relaxed. And it may be that you're imagining the warm, positive glow creates a calmer state. If you choose this, it can happen for you easily. And so this positive, warm, and easy glow is now able to expand as you notice it. And even as you appreciate it, and its expansion, as it glows brighter, shines on and includes your heart. And so just spending time now pondering what it is like for this warm positivity, what it is like inside your heart and encompassing your heart, and just observing, noticing what you notice. And with the expansion of this positive, warm, and calming glow, now it is encompassing the whole of your body. Visualize, have a sense, or imagine this glowing energy soothing and smoothing you from the inside and all the way out. All the way out as it moves through your aura. And if you would like, you may allow this warm, positive glow to move throughout your whole room. To move throughout your whole city. Your country. The planet. The galaxy. And the whole universe. Breathe into this awareness. As you're allowing this imagining or this sense, this glowing that starts from you and expands to include the entire universe, touching everything in the universe, turning everything into the universe into its positive side. You are also able to absorb all of the positivity easily and comfortably, all of the positive warmth and calm in the whole universe. And relax into this. Let all of those positive qualities move deep into the center of where this glow began in your being. And so you are attuning the quality. You are attuning the quality simply by allowance. And remembering now we have the seat of the soul at the root here and the heart. So bringing your awareness back now to your heart and to the seat of the soul. And as you hold your awareness here, you have become very magnetic. You have signaled the universe. And the intention is to call upon the Archangel Gabriel to help you with clear and joyful expression. And you have resourced now all of the positive warmth and ease of the universe, anchored it into the center of your being. With this anchoring now, Archangel Gabriel approaches. And just welcome the sense of that presence, the presence of this being of light and love. You know that such an energy exists in the universe. In fact, everyone knows that the energy of love and joyful expression, compassion and healing, everyone knows this exists in the universe. And at this time, you are signaling, and with ease, this shows up for the universe, desires you to have what it is that causes a greater expansion of love within you. And so this shows up at this time as the Archangel Gabriel. And spending time now with this energy, just letting this communion occur. Archangel Gabriel sees that you have attuned that warm and positive glow within you. And Archangel Gabriel is so pleased, so happy that you have done this. And with your invitation and permission, Gabriel can expand that to the activation of your throat, the center of manifestation and expression. From the seat of the soul, the heart, and to the throat. And this clarifying and activating to allow the release of expression that is joyful and easy, resources all of the positive qualities of the universe and all of the specific intentions of you. It may seem as though Gabriel steps forward and touches your throat. And the sensation of this may be peaceful, it may be exciting, it may be so many things at once, for you are allowing the universe to be expressed through you. And Gabriel sees your intentions, sees your desires that are to be a positive experience on this planet for yourself and for everyone. As this throat chakra, this expression center, is being clarified and balanced and joyfully opened, it is anchored with the energy of calm and relaxation and presence in the now. Each now, your joyful and healing expression may be released. And Gabriel reminds you of an ancient truth, something you have known across many different galaxies, centuries, lives. And this truth is that your expression, your pure divine expression, is in fact the expression of the universe. Your urge from the depths of your soul is the urge of the universe. In a manner of perspective, your joyful expression is a foregone conclusion. And so you are invited with this experience to enjoy the process of your presence and life, your journey as a divinely expressive being, how wonderful and beautiful you are. And so now take the next few moments to anchor in this state, commune with Archangel Gabriel, and observe this powerful attunement to joyful, clear, and calm expression. And now, to truly anchor this experience, I invite you to visualize or have a sense that when you place your hand on your solar plexus and the other hand on your heart, at the lower hand, there are roots of a flower from the seat of the soul and extending deep into the earth and the universe. And then connecting up to the heart is the stem of the flower. One hand solar plexus, one hand heart, roots to stem, and then up at the throat chakra is the beautiful bud, the flower. And you can observe as this flower opens itself wide, petal by petal, and the light of Source is activating this opening. And so you know you are grounded in the earth and the universe and flowering out through your throat chakra. And Gabriel witnesses this and holds space for you in prayer, believing in you, admiring you, encouraging you. And so we anchor this experience into you now, that at any time you would like to activate, clarify, and have the awareness of joyful and present expression. One hand on the solar plexus, one hand on the heart, and the flower of expression from root to stem to bud opens. And the light of source bathes the flower. Your aroma, your magic is released in this expression. Your essence. And so now, as we conclude this meditative journey for this time, remembering the activation symbols, the energy magic of the warm and positive glow of the flower of expression, of your communion with Archangel Gabriel. And these move deeply into your energy now, so that you may come back to your time space refreshed with a new kind of awakenedness, with a new calm, clarity, and joy for expressing who you truly are. And when your eyes open, you will come to a full awareness of the present moment, and your footfall on your path of light will guide you to the places and spaces where your expression is deeply desired. Okay. Hello, hello. Welcome back, everyone. Everyone good? I'll just give you a moment or so here to acclimate. Once again, invitation open if anybody, if you want to say on the chat, hey, I really want to connect on something before we head into the lessons. And we're going to head into the lessons if we don't hear otherwise, with that just right state of receptivity and gentle expectation. This is what they call vamping in the biz. Vamping just to see if there's anything else that we need to do. Nope. Okay, looks like it's not. So I'm excited to head into these lessons. We're going to be talking about advanced channeling and mediumship. I forgot to mention one other thing. The last two lessons we had a standalone class, spiritual teaching. Then we had a 3-part lesson series. And then we're going to do a course. We're going to look at how to build a course. But that's going to be just I just like this lesson needs to come first, and then next week I want to do the NLP thing. So it's like as I felt into that portion of it, we needed a little bit more stuff before we get to that. So that is still coming. in that series, that package of spiritual teaching lessons, but we're letting that stuff settle. So feel free to check in on those, the spiritual teaching lessons, the standalone and the lesson series, if you feel called to. And and then yeah, in the meantime, we've got a couple other things. So that's why I just wanted to acknowledge that. Just in case. Okay, now I'm gonna do my slate again. Advanced channeling and mediumship. Advanced in that we are looking at how to incorporate this into the sessions that are in this quantum resonance therapeutic model. And even so, if we're doing standalone sessions in this manner, we are looking at it from the perspective of it being a more advanced model. And I'll give us a little compare and contrast what I mean by advanced after we talk about each of these pieces. We're going to start with mediumship. And overall, the goal here is to develop precision in delivering high frequency transmissions through mediumship and channeling. We're going to learn how to hold the client's heart field, the field of their center for love and direction, and identify separation patterns that they're experiencing, that which brought them to your session, to your work, and how to facilitate a completion process through evidential and healing mediumship and channeling. So, starting with mediumship, advanced mediumship. What do I mean by advanced mediumship? This is going beyond the just proof that there is life after death. So think of maybe the first time you ever experienced mediumship or contemplated it, or someone else's perspective, just wondering, wait, do we even go on? And you might even think of the low hanging fruit of of TV shows or something like that. And I'm not talking down about any of that, because it's actually a very important catalyst, and always a part of the container of mediumship is um, I would say the assumption that there is existence, eternal existence. And yet at the same time, I think we are always, no matter how advanced we are as mediums or as clients of mediumship, no matter how advanced we are, that is a piece that we are always integrating, is just that catalyst of eternal existence. I mean, hello, if we weren't totally anchored in eternal existence, or if we were anchored in the eternal existence, we would never worry, we would never stress, right? Because all of that is anything that is fear based is somehow recognizing, or holding a frequency of separation. And if we can have that anchored more deeply in every single process of healing, then we are just creating more and more freedom and contributing more and more to the universe. Now, with our advanced mediumship, it is a part of it, and you will probably be helping your clients to awaken the eternal existence every single time that you deliver mediumship and channeling. However, we're going to go beyond that. We're not gonna just stop at, "Your mother's here and I can prove it." And not that we're say, "I can prove it," but you know what I mean? Like, there's proof that your mother still exists. And also, we're gonna talk a little bit about a kind of multidimensional mediumship in this. So the advanced function of mediumship is recognizing that the client's question and the is basically a way that they are experiencing separation or death, you might even say. Now, that separation could be from a person, and that would be, then let's say if it's separation by death, then they're feeling separation from a person, then obviously mediumship would be a great comfort and healing process. But also a separation from a person that is just no longer in their life, or not yet in their life, if a person is wanting a certain relationship. That separation could be from a circumstance. That could be a peace and clarity in their life in many different ways. It could be abundance. It could be anything that they feel separated from, could be their health, their well being. And what all of this really boils down to is a sense of feeling separated from the universe and or separation from the self. deep, deep within it is a separation from the self. And if we recognize that there is some kind of deep, deep sense of being separated from the self, then we can also recognize that our job or the vision that we hold for them is connecting and becoming whole in the self. The where we will find this is obviously in whatever they are sharing with us as they're sharing their intentions, or if we are in a counseling coaching relationship with them, then it's going to be evident there. They may be able to state it very explicitly. And additionally, in a more energetic sense, it's in their heart space. And this is expanding as we tap into their heart space, finding how the heart is calling to a whole connection with self and with the all. Then we can expand that perspective, tapping into the heart and expanding to connect with where that sense of separation lives. So basically, as we are holding the separation identity or the lack identity, we also hold the truer identity, which is the connected identity and the whole identity. And what we are doing is recognizing there is this separation or lack, yet we're preferring and holding the anchored state of them being complete and connected. And what bridges this is usually some form of self-love. Now, sometimes we have to hear our self-love from someone else, right? I have to hear from my husband that he loves me. I feel it, and as I feel it, I'm accepting it, and it's a basically becomes my love, and therefore I'm allowing myself to be loved. That is a kind of self-love. Receiving love is self-love. And so when it comes to mediumship, receiving love from past loved ones, ancestors, or even angels, and having the person, the client, be able to receive it into their heart, feel loved, is activating self-love. So we're tapping into a self-love languaging as we connect with mediumship, pouring forth through that mediumistic channel or the entity, the one who is the giver of that love. And so whether that transmission, as I said, it could come from a past loved one that they are connected with, they know about. My parent passed away. It could be a past loved one that's somewhere else in their family line. One of my first, actually was my first reading spirit guide, was a cousin that I didn't even know who had passed. And it was a cousin that I wasn't like that close to at all. She was a lot older than I, maybe 15 years older. And I didn't see her again, probably past age 10, but I saw her at Christmas and things like that. But it wasn't even like she was like, I hung out with her or played with her or anything. Nevertheless, this cousin came through as someone to help me and support me after I opened up to my mediumship. So if you have a client session who, it's like someone is standing in that position of, might be a friend, might be a cousin, might be an aunt, and their name is blah, blah, blah. And mine happened to be Terry. It was a female cousin named Terry. And I recognized the image of her too, with this long black hair. And I could feel her essence, even though I hardly remembered her. And she was there for me. So that's another thing we might need to explain to clients, and how significant all connections and relationships can be or are for us. So past loved ones that they're familiar with, past loved ones they're not so familiar with, maybe a distant cousin, or maybe a grandfather or great, great, great grandfather they never met. Or it could be ancestors who we can't really actually connect in a conscious way at the time. And it could be other high frequency guides. So angels, masters, deities, any of this sort. Because mediumship is operating in the dimensions of the higher self. So just to recall previous lesson when we talked about the dimensions, not only the dimensions of the universe, but as there basically is a dimension of an individual. We have like the subconscious inner being. We have the personal self with the physical body and all. We also have like even in within that kind of like these different dimensions of like the etheric layer, the astral layer, and so on and so forth. Those more subtle inner layers of the personal self. And as we expand out further, we have this layer, this realm of the higher self. And again, I'm oversimplifying it just to give a review. And then beyond the higher self, we have the soul. Now, the soul is what we're always moving away from for experience and moving toward for growth. That's what we do. And the soul is always trying to help us to stay on track while also collaborating with us as we veer from the path. The soul frequency is so expanded that it almost is like it needs an intermediary. And that's where the higher self comes in. So we don't have to be semantical. We can always just say higher self when we're talking about higher mind or that higher aspect of ourselves. But I'm just reviewing this so that we can get a clear picture of how mediumship and even channeling functions. So as if it's Russian nesting dolls, these different layers, soul being that outermost, so to speak, for the purposes of this lesson. And then within that, higher self. Higher self is this realm or this dimension of symbols, of metaphors, of stories, of narratives, of dreams, especially as it considers the soul sending that information down through the higher self so that it can be received, it can be translated and received by the person. It's where we are when we meditate a lot of the times. It's where we are when we dream a lot of the times. It's where we are when we are envisioning. And it's what we connect with when we're doing divination. Actually, the tarot, the system of the tarot kind of has the gestalt of human personalities, and that is all of those archetypes are existing in the higher self, which is why we can connect with every single one of them to some degree or another in different periods of life. So as we are connecting with their heart space and expanding to become whole, expanding the awareness as we're holding the higher aspect, because as you've heard me say before, the language of the higher self is self-love, you loving yourself. So then you are going to go to that realm for the delivery of those self-loving messages. And as you go to that, this is where the past loved ones might step in. You know, the ancestors, the angels stepping in. So they're stepping into their field with the collecting the delivery of the message. And so you stand as the bridge from that space, the medium, to delivering the message. Having said that, you might be, as I'm saying, go to that place. It's with awareness. Now, if you have a more dominant psychic sense of clairvoyance, you may actually even imagine that you're looking at them and you're opening your vision, your clairvoyance to that expanded realm. So you may actually even see it around the client. That's where mom is stepping in. Angels are coming in right over above them, perhaps. That's how I see it sometimes, and it's not clairvoyance isn't my most dominant. It's a secondary for me, and that's still how I see it. Now, you may have in your mediumship certain, especially if clairvoyance is dominant, then you might have certain ways that the entity presents. For me, when I'm seeing the entity, if it is a human, a former human, they tend to stand around the human in relationship to them like a family tree. So the client is here, and on the going out, branching out, as I look at them on their left side. So I'm looking at them. This would be their left side. Their left side is mom. Their right side is dad. And then this is the maternal and paternal lines branching up and out. The ones that are like aunts go beside mom, but even friends, like mom's best friend would be right there next to mom as if she were an aunt. We have siblings standing right beside them. We have nibblings, nieces and nephews going in front of them, children going there as well in front of them. I'm sort of within, like a family tree would do. That's how I see it. Perhaps it's some other way, like they stand in different areas, or you simply also are pairing it with claircognizance. So they show up and then you know that it's mom. Perhaps you're pairing your clairvoyance with clairaudience. So they show up, you see them, and they say, I'm their mom. Or perhaps it's like with me, I'm dominantly clairsentient and I tend to feel it, and then maybe I see it, and then I feel who it is. It's like similar to clairvoyance, but excuse me, similar to claircognizance, but it comes in this area with some different kind of a felt sense than just like the knowing that comes in a cognition kind of consciousness. It's a feeling that is expanding from within. So anyway, may come in a way that is more systematic for you, may come in randomly for you. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, at any rate. What we're doing is we are expanding to that realm of the higher self. And if you do have a certain clair that is your preferred or dominant way, and I mean either one of those. Maybe you are dominantly clairsentient, but for mediumship, you prefer to use clairvoyance to kick off the relationship. Like I actually do that a lot of times. I actually look with my clairvoyance to start the mediumship. Because maybe I'm already feeling them, but I need something to actually have it spill over into a clairvoyant image. That's how it works for me, at least. So, as we are operating within the dimensions of the higher self, this is where, yes, stories, metaphors, different symbols will show up, archetypes, the language that is converting the soul frequencies into the words or images or narratives so that the person can receive the message as an attunement, attuning them to completion, to the whole self. So the roles of past loved ones, just to talk about that a little bit more, and other beings as they step into that realm of the higher self. It's um, it's they may have their personality very much the same as it was in life, but it could also be something that is lighter or more expanded. And because the whole point is to facilitate healing to the human who's on the earth plane. And so it's important to kind of let the clients know that. Sometimes we bring forth, they recognize a person. Sometimes I remember this one time, it was like, I'm seeing a person, it's either the friend or brother of your mother, and I hear Dean. And the person said, well, that's my Uncle Dean. I had an Uncle Dean, but he died before I even was born. So I don't like that can't be. I'm like, well, the evidence is there. I don't happen to every session go, do you have an Uncle Dean? No, I'm sorry. I laugh sometimes at how we have to help our clients as receive the evidences. So at any rate, we might need to help the clients understand that, you know, well, Archangel Michael is here, and they're like, but I'm not Catholic. Right. It's not religious. Well, I've never really connected with angels. Well, let me tell you about the energy of Michael, So sometimes we stay with who is there and what is there and help the client just to connect to the message, um, and in a manner of speaking. Now, when it comes to ancestors, they're further down the line. We don't, and that might be a good way to explain. I think a lot of clients could understand that. Well, your Uncle Dean left this earth plane before you were born, so he is in the category of ancestor, and your ancestors support you. That might be, I think, be the easiest way to explain that to people. However, there are other nuances that sometimes have to be explained to your clients, such as, well, I see someone who's coming forward and actually he's saying he's your husband and his name is blah, 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 or he's wearing this and looks like this. And they go, well, that's not my husband. That's my ex-husband. These are some of the things. Yes. But the, are the ones who we had contracts with, even if the contracts are complete, they still have the resonance of the love and support from the other side. So the healing mechanism of mediumship. Um, Ultimately, all points of separation from the self or from the identity, we're moving to wholeness. Um, just recapping here a little bit, that advanced mediumship is holding and anchoring the frequency of completion, that which is already whole, that perspective that you hold for them. You see how this also shifts us from, I would say, beginner mediumship, where we're just hoping we get an evidence right, and we're like, okay, good. You know what I mean? Like, we are going way beyond. The evidences serve that higher purpose of the healing. This is, in a manner of speaking, where we're holding that perspective of wholeness, that it is already done. It is kind of like living from the end, which is something that Neville Goddard, the way he talks about manifesting, and all healing is manifestation, in the sense that there is already overarching to any sense of being broken or separate or in lack. There is a greater version of being whole and being complete and being healed. Separation is already resolved in the quantum field, in the all that is. And so we hold that frequency while allowing, the next piece we're going to talk about is evidences to emerge, so that the evidences can help to open the field, or open the heart, really, I should say, so that the healing can be received. So as we connect with their heart, understand there is some separation or lack, hold that existence of the completion that already exists in the quantum field, in the all that is. And then we expand to the higher self realm and see who, if we are talking about mediumship, presents to amplify and deliver messages that ultimately help them to love themselves more. And the way to crack that open is by evidences. So we've done poop poop, I see them, and now go for the evidences, meaning basically have the entity on the other side give you evidences that relate to the client. It's about your intention. So if it is a former human, let's say it is a past loved one that they know, then it might be physical details. It could be clothing, could be hairstyle, some kind of recognizable item that they're holding or standing next to, like, oh, they're standing next to a green pickup truck. So again, that would be something that might be dominant in clairvoyance. It could be emotional qualities, warmth, humor, stubbornness. It could be a manner or a behavior. Perhaps it's like you see them reading something, or you see them standing up and talking to a crowd, or you see them tending to children. Could be a behavior. The evidences as they arise, they could come through your dominant psychic sense, or any combination of them. Allow 2 to 3 of these to come forth, to land with the client. Maybe 2 is enough. Sometimes, I guess maybe 1 is enough, but it just is a general measure. Having the entity, as you've set the intention that we're gonna bring forth some evidences, so that the person can feel, "Oh my gosh, a higher reality. I'm seen by the universe. Yes, please, love me." It's like that cracks their heart open to receive the love. So, maybe if you are dominantly clairaudient, perhaps it is names or words or certain phrases. Clairsentience, it could be bodily sensations, or a sort of like faint ping. Um, and obviously, clairvoyance, images, symbols, or visions. A common one, if we're talking about a former human, may be actually how they passed. The method that their life um, met its ending. And I think sometimes that happens when the person may still have we're either on that journey with them during the time of their passing, or even has some grief that they're still working on about how they passed. Or sometimes it's just one of those evidences, just an evidence that clarifies that's dad. In the case of it being how they passed, sometimes if you are, if clairsentience is something that is showing up for you, then it might actually be like, I'm taken to my heart center. And then as you acknowledge it, then you might go, oh, it's almost like I can't breathe for a second. Now, these are shades, right? These are shades of it. And then, the person may begin to recognize it. Although I'll also say sometimes they don't know how the person passed and they'll still want to give the evidence of passing. Why that happens, I don't know. Maybe it's an assignment for the person to go research it later. Sometimes that's it. Or we just kind of move on to the next thing. So as we allow 2 to 3 evidences to come forth and basically to be affirmed and confirmed, the hearts that client's heart is open, then we start moving to those messages because they are receptive to hope, because they are receptive to love. Before I move on to the next piece, though, I want to review evidences if it is not a former human. So it could be that you are sensing, seeing, or hearing whatever helps you to understand that it is an angelic presence. It could be an angel that you recognize, that you have a name for, Michael, Gabriel, Haniel, Uriel, Uh, and even if it is or isn't, the energy or the quality that is being presented is going to be the thing that lands more. Well, I don't know. Sometimes you might, if we work with one another, right? And I say Archangel Michael is here, they're like, oh my gosh, I was just meditating Archangel Michael last night. Yeah. Then if you have a sort of a person who already works with angels, then that presence in and of itself may be, the evidence. But for a lot of clients, it might be, oh, Michael's here. And then even though you have a sense of, the archetypal energies that Michael brings forward, you might mention those, but also, again, have the intention of an evidence specifically for this client because you might sense, see, or hear something that is more precise to this client that can feel like an evidence. I'm seen by the universe. I'm held by the universe. Again, allowing the heart to open. It could be a deity or an ascended master. And I got to tell you, those are interesting sometimes because it might, I don't, there's a countless amount of them. So, it could be one that is relevant to their culture and you're not familiar with it. So then you have to like describe it. Maybe they do recognize that particular uh, deity or ascended master. And again, maybe they don't. Maybe it isn't relevant to their culture. So if they are presenting, then uh, we bring through something that will land as an evidence so that they are seen. Now, you will we want to stick with what is showing, what is presenting, because you as an advanced medium, whatever you are sensing, it is there for their highest benefit, for their completion and their healing. So don't let their lack of recognition of evidences, if they happen, to stop you from bringing forth and holding that entity in the message that they have to share. However, you will have one, two, or three evidences. And as we move from the evidences, we move to the healing. We allow that deeper work to begin. We transition into it so that we're allowing the messages to flow through that clarity, that love, the open heart, the hope magnet that they're holding in their heart now. Now, the evidences in and of themselves may actually contain the messages, right? And you might sense that, or you might just ask about it. You know, um, Dad is standing next to a green pickup truck. He says that, and I can sense that there was something really important about that. Oh yeah, we went riding, and I loved that time so much. I didn't know, you know what I mean? I don't know. The green pickup truck, just maybe that's someone here. Is that so? I have a green pickup truck. Does this belong to someone? Anyway, I'm pretending like I'm a gallery medium there. Anyway, so the evidences may actually have the messages already in them. And then also while you're moving to the messages and the transmissions that are helping them to feel love, those might have more evidences to them. And it could just be that deluge of all of the love that they're ready to hear. The entity's words or qualities may contain that familiar, recognizable tone, mother speaking in her characteristic way, or a protective strength from Archangel Michael. And it could include so much more because, from the other side, there's no separation from anything. This one client that I had, story time, this one client that I had quite a while ago, years ago, we actually met in person. And it was my friend's boyfriend. And he wanted to he it's like his boyfriend was moving back. All I knew about this person, he was like, I want to buy a session for my boyfriend. He's moving out of the country, and I just want to give him this before he moves. We're going to be separated. And so I know this person's name and that he's my friend's boyfriend, and that's all I know. And as we are sitting here, and I see very clearly his mother sitting right beside him, like she was so deep, had gone through so many layers to be deep here, or she brought his higher self down deep here. And as I'm going to talk about how to blend channeling and mediumship in a moment, this was definitely one of those moments where I was like, there's a mother's presence here. By the way, it was interesting because I was like, there's a motherly presence here. And this person was young. They were in their late 20s. So it seemed, from my conscious mind, it's unlikely that it's not. If you have a person who's over 50, more likely than a person who's under 30 that their mother is here. So I said, there's a motherly presence. And his eyes widened and even started to tear up a little bit. And I said, then I said, is your mother on the other side? And, you know, I described, I think, her hair and like something that she was wearing, eyes widen, tears kind of welling up. And his heart was opening up so fast. We just started talking. I mean, I let her step in and channel the message. And the message was about how much she loves him, how much she accepts him, that she's sorry that she couldn't tell him how she, or even accept or tell him how she accepted him while she was here. She's, sorry that, all these different kinds of things. Well, turns out so beautiful. So this young man, I told you he was my male friend's boyfriend. So he was, he was gay. And this young man was moving back to his home country where it's illegal to be gay. It is, it's not just like, I'm going to come out. It's illegal. And he was moving back out of the pressure to help. He was graduating college and moving back out of this pressure to, help his family. And he had been living here in the United States, out living the fullness of who he really is in that respect. Had a boyfriend, they were in love. And his mother, it turns out the mother's message was about, I'm so sorry, to him. It's like he was like, I'm so confused because she would never have been able to accept me for who I am in that area. But he was touched by it because, again, I didn't know any of this, and he could feel, and whatever it was, because also I was channeling, so the power of it came through. I don't know. I think he did move back home. I don't know what the follow-up is on that. I just hope that, he felt that deep connection from his mom, feeling whole in the love of his mom on the other side. So that is an example of how it seems impossible. He's not a medium. He doesn't work in this kind of material. Seems impossible that when someone passes on, they can accept you completely. And they can, of course. And they do, possibly even more than we accept ourselves, right? So this is what makes advanced mediumship, the advanced aspect of it, is that focus is not just about survival of consciousness. It's about bringing deep attunement to those inner fractals and back into harmony. That is the gift that you can bring to sessions. And we're going to talk more about whether these are standalone, whether we're blending them, and how we are bringing it into our quantum resonance therapeutic modality. Advanced channeling in your session work. Channeling can work on many of the similar principles and basically jumping off points as mediumship, as I shared in the mediumship lesson that, you know, I shared an example of mediumship turning into channeling, coming back to mediumship. So channeling is working in similar principles where we would uh, begin with evidences and then move on to the transmission. Now, channeling can be channeling of a certain individual entity, as in past loved ones, angels, so on and so forth. Channeling can also be the sense of frequencies or even a transmission that would be from the higher self. I do Akashic channeling sessions, and Akashic channeling sessions, the Akasha is the field of all that is. So basically, the all that is organized by their council of light, and that then brings into brings in streams or data streams of transmission, whatever is being asked for, the way that I have my modality structured, by the questions that they bring. And so there are, could be past lives, it could be different practices, and it could point to something like the healing of that piece that for that client sample that I told you about, that is where they feel like they cannot live their true self and who they love. So we would start with well, you could start in your counseling or your preliminary session with them if you have that, talking to them about their intentions, finding that connection to what it is that they are feeling the separation from. In my Akashic channeling sessions, they prepare questions in advance. Those questions reveal how they are feeling that sense of separation or lack at the time. What am I learning about so and so? How can I experience my gifts? Blah, 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 this kind of stuff. And so at any rate, you have that intention, which is really revealing the separation portion. Now, if you do have some kind of counseling in advance, then you might bring forth a couple of evidences before you even start the transmission. So, as in the case of my mediumship session that turned into channeling, the evidence was there is a motherly presence here. Is your mother passed? Yes. Does she look like this? Yes. Okay. Boom. The transmission starts. Heart is open. If it is doesn't have that, if we're just moving from the separation point, like in my Akashic channeling session, we don't talk about anything except that I have the questions, the evidence to show up in the transmission at the same time. I had one today. I That person is present right now, so I don't think that they will mind at all. And there was a practice to help this person attune to, in that way, and it was using tuning forks. And then after the session, after I closed the channeling session, the client told me, "Oh my gosh, my best friend just bought this big set of tuning forks, and we're so excited about it," basically. Like, okay, great. There's an evidence that happened during the transmission. So when channeling, you might have a couple of evidences if you do have that way that you're actually counseling or connecting with their intention. Say, well, Mother is here or Archangel Michael is here, and this energy is coming forward. I'm going to let the channeling start. Or you might click right into the channeling and the evidences come through in the session. So basically, um, what we are doing here, if we have the sense, some kind of jumping off point where we have them contributing to the session, whether it is having some kind of counseling or what's your intention or what are your questions, that is, I think, really key to having the channeling transmission click in. The way I see it is like a doorknob. So the client shows up and says, I need help with this, or I have this question, or I have this problem. That's them with their hand on this side of the doorknob of that interdimensional portal. And then the transmission is on the other side, whether it's the transmission of a specific entity or just a data stream from their soul or higher self. That's the other side of the doorknob. So we want some kind of catalyst to help the heart open. Yeah, that's how I see it. So, let me see. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, thank you. I'm just kind of having a moment to reset and leaving a little extra space in the video, so I'll just clip out this part. Okay. If we are channeling and it is, let's say, a former human, a past loved one. Mhm. One thing that I think could be helpful is to, while we have them here, like back to my other one, mother is here, confirmed, confirmed, evidence, evidence. Before you switch in, if you're going to begin channeling, I think it's really great to add to that doorknob, if you will, ask what was it that they called you. Now, maybe it'll come through as an evidence too. They're saying, um, Chica, I don't know, something like that. Did she call? But I think it's also great to just go ahead and ask, how did they refer to you? Now, it could be just their name. It could be just, Susan, because it's my friend from high school. At any rate, is there a name, whether it's, did they call you by your first name? Was there a nickname, or was there some term of endearment? And if you can let the client also contribute that, I think it can make it really powerful. Even if it's something as simple as it was just they called me Susan. I think that can really it's another little contribution from the client. And then as it's being used, even if it's only used once or twice in the session, I mean in the transmission part of it, it can be really helpful. And this helps you to click in so that you're speaking to them. Your voice is being used to speak to them directly from that entity, from the entity being able to utilize you as the instrument. Now, if we are talking about other kinds of entities, high frequency entities, angels, other kinds of archetypal entities, um, there might be something else that shows up as a way to refer to them. That has happened sometimes, and that is something that more comes through in the transmission. But as you understand this right now, you can open up this potential within your channeling instrument. So what I mean by that is that sometimes there will be something that if you have it open and that they will want to call them. It may seem simple to you. It could be dearest one. It could be golden goddess. Or it could be a certain key phrase that is wanting to anchor the space. That happened today too. There was a key phrase that kept coming through in repetition. Now, that doesn't always happen, whether it's a name that the high frequency entity is providing, or an archetypal image like golden goddess. That is one from another session, or a phrase that's repeated. But if we're just understanding that right now, opening it up within our channel, it might be something that is activated as you're in a transmission. And again, that might be with a higher frequency entity, but it could be something that would be activated within a past loved one, a known entity. Or that could also be something that is just from that high frequency stream of higher self, something that is activated as a key name, phrase, or even archetypal sort of image. So as we are allowing the initiation of the channeling to begin, we transition by allowing the language to just be spoken in a first person channeling, such as if we're talking about mother is here, and she wants to say, I love you, my dear one, go ahead and start quoting her, you know what I mean? And keep it going. As if you like, it's kind of, if it's starting off mediumistically, you're like, what did you say? Okay, she said, go there. Okay, what did you go? Oh, and she said, and I know that you're going to do this. You know what I mean? Like, just let it keep going. Many of you have experience channeling. This is why I'm doing an overview of it. And if you don't have experience channeling, you can start today with these few cues. You really can, because that's how I started. I just started. I actually was doing mediumship, and I could feel that tendency to want to keep Instead of saying, "Well, she said, I know that you blah, blah, blah." I had felt this tendency to wanna keep going and to let that energy just pour through, and, then I asked my mediumship teacher, it's like a kinda like going to start channeling. She's like, "Yeah, we channel, go ahead, channel." And I was, "Oh, okay." And, angels were there, and it just becomes for me, it becomes really, more efficient when the channeling is there just to let it channel. So just keep quoting them if you're, like, starting it. So if we're talking about something like higher self frequencies or angelic frequencies, with those higher light order kinds of frequencies, there is a tendency for it to use the we pronoun. And it doesn't mean it has to be, but just, that could be another way that you can say yes to the channeling frequency that's coming through. We would like to present to you. Now, here's the other thing in this we would like to present to you is that when you're going to start channeling, sometimes it might show up in your clairs in the ways that you normally. So I'm feeling it. I'm seeing something. I'm hearing something. So then that image, what you can do to shift it from a kind of mediumship or otherwise intuitive reading where you're like, I'm seeing a house and it has this and it has that, you can allow that image that's presenting that you might have otherwise delivered in a interpretation through your intuitive faculties. You can allow them to step in and say, we present to you a house with green shutters and love was filled in this house or something like that. You know what I mean? You can say, allow that to be, if we're talking about mediumship, then it might be something that they're presenting something specific, or if it's an intuitive reading where it's not necessarily I have an entity here, it's just that higher frequency receiving of images, sounds, words, feelings, claircognizant input, downloads. Just allow it to be say we would like to say to you if you're hearing some clairaudient message, and just let it move from the interpretation to directed speech being delivered. And as that occurs, it's more than just the speech. There's so much energy frequency. It's coming through no matter what you're doing, whether you're doing mediumship, intuitive readings, whether you're doing hypnosis or counseling and spiritual teaching. It's always coming through in all of those deeper frequencies. So we just shift to that, and then it can come through in a deluge of the transmission pouring forth. As I said, you might get some visions, and to allow those visions to turn into a channeling, then just, allow the presence to say, and we are presenting to you this, and describe it in that first person, whether it's we or I. And also there could be simultaneous impressions through all of the different modes of perception that you have. Images, words, sensations, all unfolding without analysis, just flow. Just flow. That's what channeling facilitates, is flow. And what I found is, and I'll share something from a recent what's it called? Akashic record channeling session. And I know I have permission. It's from Carson, one of our community, and she says I have permission to share anything that happens in our sessions with, the public as well as with us in our classroom. And we did an Akashic channeling session fairly recently, and I recall, because I was on the edge of letting the channeling come through, that I saw an image of a woman standing on a vast desert plain. And so I'm silent. I've asked the questions, how I do with my Akashic sessions, and I've asked the question, and I see a woman standing on a vast desert plain. And that's it. Because I'm not interpreting, but I'm seeing this. So then I surrender so that the channeling can come through. Now, I don't remember exactly how it happened, but I do recall generally that it was like, we present to you a past life in the desert, something like that. And, maybe sometime we can, since Carson gives us that permission, we can even just review that so you can see this. Maybe we'll do that soon. Or I'll add it to this lesson later because I have to edit it and clip it out. So stay tuned for that. Might be right after this if you're looking in the student portal. And so it is the surrendering to the channeling, which again, that input of allowing it to become first person speech. You might, on that edge of it, you're like, I'm doing this. I'm going to say, we present to you. But then after that, now you've surrendered to it. And it's the flow is flowing. That's what it is like for me. And that's what I witnessed with others who channel. So it could be, again, simultaneous impressions just before you allow that surrender and the speech to flow forth. Just let it begin. Let it be spoken, and you click right over to it. And what that basically looks like is just replacing interpretive phrasing from what they're showing me is to we would like to show you. And this is going to facilitate that flow. Another thing to mention I'm going to mention it here in the channeling piece, but it's a part of everything, and mediumship as well as any of the other kinds of work that we're learning about. And that's the role of silence. Even in channeling, silence may occur during a channeling session as a part of the transmission, letting the energy settle. And again, as you are aware of this right now, it becomes a part of your channeling toolkit. And so there'll be a sense that you pause if that is, a part of your channeling transmission at that time. The energy continues to work in the field even without the words, right? And so as I'm about to share with you how to actually orient your clients to when you switch to mediumship or channeling, whether a whole session dedicated to it or folded into another one, that would be something that piece right there would be something you might want to let them know. When I channel, sometimes there are silences, and just breathe through it and let the energy settle in. And that the transmission is still pouring forward. Just basically indulge in that wonderful feeling of the silence. And then when we click out of channeling, and again, I'm going to review this here in a second with more clarity about mediumship and channeling. But anyway, when you click out of channeling, you let your clients know that there will be a reentry. And I usually, like with my Akashic, I actually I close the records with my Akashic channeling ones. And that's one piece of it. And then the other piece is that I just usually go like, hi, just something really casual, really just like, hey, here I am, or something like that, totally different, just like my regular sounding voice, I guess. Not that my channeling voice is necessarily that different, but you feel the shift in it. Kind of like when, we learned about hypnosis. When you're bringing someone out of hypnosis, you change your tone, you brighten it, you change the pace of it. Same thing. So, let me see. Okay. So far as the orientation of your orientation as a channel, as we're anchoring that transmission in the frequency of completion and wholeness, and that is pouring through, perhaps as evidences, perhaps in all of the other ways that the love is pouring through the transmission. You are holding steady as the proxy. Your role is to open the door, hold the field, and just let the messages, let the voice, let the flow come through. And trust that every element, words, images, silences, are all part of the healing process. Similar to how it is in mediumship, trust that whoever's showing up with whatever they're showing up is a part of the healing, because you are an advanced medium and channel. So I just want to give a few distinctions between mediumship and channeling. Then that's like a Venn diagram, they overlap. Mediumship is focusing on bridging the separation and offering evidential healing through past humans or ancestors or high frequency beings. And it has a tendency for the intermediary interpretation. So she's showing me some eyeglasses, and she's like, I'm not sure what those are. And then you could bounce it back to the spirit and say, oh, she's saying that the eyeglasses mean this. Or you could let that feeling unfold within you, because maybe the spirit, the entity, is like, can you help me with this, because I've come as far as I can come. Help me to pass on the interpretation. Likewise, you can bounce it back to them and say, get something else that's an evidence. At any rate, it's this dynamic game of telephone and relaying the messages and relaying them clearly and also through interpretation. That's mediumship. Channeling is expanding into a direct transmission from higher beings, archetypes, or cosmic intelligence, higher self flow. Both are sharing the qualities of having evidential sorts of openings, having the sense of what the lack or the separation is, and then we're switching to the preferred state, both of them have in it evidences. Both of them have in it more of the has the heavily laden to help them to feel seen and loved. Channeling might rely more heavily on that surrender to the flow. Definitely it does, because there's no you don't stop and say, wait, I don't think you said that right, and then say rephrase that. Is just flowing, right? So channeling, it becomes advanced when we move beyond interpretation and into direct transmission, holding steady as that proxy for the voice that is offering the self-love, the voice that is offering completion to the client. We're going to talk a little bit about how to structure mediumship and channeling into your session work, whether it's a part of a session or a whole session. And I have a nudge from Spirit to say, even before I go there, that as I said, if you have not been experiencing channeling or mediumship, doesn't mean that you're not ready for it. You can do it in our practice sessions, of course, but you can also start with these simple principles, because just because you're doing a session one way, if you haven't experienced mediumship before, doesn't mean you can't add a little bit. It also doesn't mean that you have to have a full 60 minutes of mediumship. You might, if you're having some kind of session, whether maybe it's an intuitive session that you don't usually connect with past loved ones, but now you're opening up to it, or if it is a coaching and you don't usually do that, but you're opening up to it, you can allow yourself to connect to their heart and just, again, open yourself up to, is there someone who is here? And if you notice that there is a motherly presence here, there's a motherly presence here. Oh my gosh, my mom. She loves you so much, and she's here for you in the session. Oh my gosh, that could be it. So you don't have to like put so much pressure on yourself that it has to be this huge thing the first time. Or, there are angels here for you. I see 3 angels around you, and they're giving messages of peace, love, and hope. You know what I mean? Start folding it in incrementally, in the same way as I've talked about how to start using human design. Get their birth information, one little piece, pepper that in. Yeah. All right. I wanted to add that to this, even though we're kind of talking about something else, but there must be some reason I'm going to take it as it's part of it. So let's talk a little bit about session structuring. I think it's great to have some kind of what I call a pre-induction speech. So it is a pre-induction because when you step into a channel or you step into mediumship, even an intuitive reading of some kind, you are inducing yourself, and the client also becomes induced in order to receive it. So this is why I call it a pre-induction speech. It's something that we also use in hypnotherapy. This is what hypnosis is and isn't. But this also stands to that concept of being a pre-induction speech. So what we're going to do, I'm going to bring up a document it's a very plain document because it's just what I have sort of notated about my Akashic channeling sessions, and to show you what the pre-induction speech looks like for my sessions. You might have a little experience, perhaps before you create your pre-induction speech, or maybe you are just starting with it and you can imagine what it is, just even from here. Mediumship is like this. There might be silences. We could connect with past loved ones that you know or that you don't know. Ones that you don't know, they could be in that category of ancestors. Also, it could be past loved ones that the relationship wasn't totally happy or resolved before they passed, and that's what they're here for. Angels, even if you haven't had a connection with angels, angels are all around it. You know what I mean? Like whatever your sort of mediumship modality is, imagine what you might go ahead and let the client know about. And I tell you, don't think that it's too much for anyone or too little for anyone. It's still very interesting to people. They're interested in hearing about that process. Yeah. Um, that might be the time that you mentioned that there could be silences. There might be a time where I'm going to reset and really feel into it. You'll see me close my eyes, these kinds of things that might be a part of your pre-induction speech. Let them know what their part of the process is. Distinguish how you will signal the beginning and the ending of the transmission. Some of the things. So I'm going to bring up my pre-induction notes, really is what they are, because I don't look at this while I'm in the session, but it is what I have notated so I can keep track of what I want to make sure as I'm including in my Akashic channeling sessions. So I'm going to open this up. This is my bulleted list. So you see the structure of the session is something that I start with, telling them that the records will be open formally with an invocation. Once they're open, the session will shift into a channeling state. We won't be doing dialogue during the channeling portion of it. During this time, we're not going to add commentary or interpret. We're going to let the transmission come through. We're going to move through your questions because I have them bring questions to the session one at a time. I'll read the question out loud. I'll channel the answer. There might be a pause before moving to the next one. After all the questions have been channeled and the records are closed, then there is a time for reflection, clarification, practical integration, more intuitive insight. I will lead most of the invocation, but there, after the first stanza, I will pause and I put on screen, I have this decree that they recite. And so I put that on screen for them. That's something that I've presented in advance. I show them that in advance before we open the records. This is going to come on screen. You'll recite this 3 times. I take it back off screen. The energy of the activation, that what is happening during the invocation. Let them know that there's going to be a heart-to-heart connection, that they could lean into it or they may not notice it, just letting them know. And that is actually already starting to create the energy activation. I explain to them who the Akashic Council of Light is, that they're anonymous, and that they are creating a pure frequency that is of guidance that keeps the spotlight on them. Then the nature of the transmission. I'll be shifting between each question. The answers come in as more than words, even though the words are there. There's frequency and fractals that they can sit back and receive it. They, somewhere along there, I'm like, you don't have to take notes, but you can jot down some notes if that is what you prefer. Just be sure that the notes don't distract from you receiving. So maybe it's just 1 or 2 words. Yeah, there's quite a few things that I mentioned here. There's the silences that could be within one particular channeled answer to a question. A past life may be reviewed if it's beneficial, or it may not. But sometimes their question is, what's a past life that I, need to know about for such and such? And then I let them know that their part is to listen and receive. That, of course, we have the questions that we can ask before and after the records are closed. And so there's my little bulleted list. Oh, no, I've got a few more things. I tell them how the session will close. At the end of the questions, transmissions coming through, I'm going to finish the invocation and I'll close the records. And then we can have the rest of our session. Then I also tell them some of the details. I mean, some of the, like what I want to say, like the housekeeping. You're going to get the audio and video files. You're going to get a timestamp transcript, and you're going to get a curated session overview PDF. So that helps them to go like, oh, I really don't have to take notes. I'm a note taker, but it feels like I don't have to take notes at all. So, that is helpful to know in advance of opening the channel. So I put that all in ChatGPT. That's why it says, here's a polished client-ready pre-induction script. Because I said, take all of this and put it into a script. Now, I don't actually say these words, but it's kind of nice to see it in a kind of flow. Before we begin, I'd like to share how our time together will flow and what you can expect during the session. So I just kind of had it put together that way. So that is my pre-induction speech for my Akashic channeling sessions. So just some things to highlight there. I mean, that's quite a lot because it's a different kind of modality, but I talked about what to expect, whether, what I'm going to actually a lot of times too, what's not mentioned there is I do usually say, have you experienced channeling before? And most of my clients, by the time they've come to me, they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. So I don't have to explain to you. My eyes are going to be closed. It's going to feel like this and blah, blah, But if they hadn't yet, I might even say, have you seen a channel on YouTube? Yeah, just feel that out a little bit. So, have that pre-induction, even if you, well, before I go there, I'll say, and then we also want to close. So formally close with the client present. So that might be for mediumship that you thank them. Thank you for stepping forward. And sometimes the closing is happening. If we're talking about mediumship, it's like they're stepping back now. So thank you for stepping forward. And we'll continue, you can continue with whatever it is that you're doing for your intuitive reading or intuitive coaching. And this is a good way to close it, if that resonates with you. It's just one that can really be useful. Like I said, I actually kind of just use a grounded tone after I say this transmission is closed. Amen. And so it is, or whatever it is. Then I go, hi, okay, I'm back now. Hi, how are you? I just get really grounded in the way I'm presenting. You could take a breath. Okay, yes, thank you. But do formally close it, whether it's closing the channel or acknowledging that you've released the entity or spirit. And I would say, even if you have more of the session to go, because maybe it's just a little piece of it and you say, Mom's here. Oh, she says this. Okay, thank you, Mom. Okay, great. So then we continue on with, oh, I think we just had an earthquake. Either that or I just almost passed out. Okay, I think I'm fine. Anyway, so yes, formally closing. You can informally close if you're within a session, you have more to go. And then you can also formally close at the very end of the session. See what I mean there? So, and then of course, after you end a session, any kind of session, just take a moment for yourself and ground and make sure that you have totally closed for yourself too. So opening and closing with intention gives the clients a containment, what to expect, how to relax, and how to receive. And closing it is also going to seal the work. And overall, it's just ensuring that the session is flowing as safe and sacred, expanded and grounded all at once. We kind of covered a lot of this, but I want to recap slash have it stand alone in its own little section here. Blending channeling and mediumship. This could be something you do if you're doing a 60-minute session. You might move between mediumship and channeling, or it could be within a coaching session. You can flow between that first person channeling and the third person relaying of impressions. This has happened quite a few times on my YouTube channel. I've had it, and it's actually happened, was it not too long ago, maybe in Sacred Sphere, where I was like, oh, I think it did at least. I don't know. I'm kind of remembering going, oh, Saint Germain is here, and he's telling us that, okay, wait, I'm just going to let him come through. You know what I mean? And then sometimes I'm like channeling, and then I come out, and then it's just like, it's almost like when you're on one of those moving sidewalks in the airport, and you're like walking, and then you start walking like at a regular pace. Like if I have it structured for a channeling session, then it's like it's channeling the whole time. Then we end the channeling, then we do other things. But if it isn't like I didn't plan for it to be channeling and channeling's coming through, then it might flow in and out. And so anyway, my point is that it can be your process. It can be the way that it happens for you. So I mean, like, so Mom is here and Mom says that, she's so proud of you. And I just want to tell you how proud you are of it. And then, so now she's showing me, you see what I mean? Like it can switch back and forth. And now it could be extended periods of the channeling part and then moving a little bit more into the mediumship part. Let it flow, let it fly, let it just unfold. Letting it move between that, I think it's really great because mediumship the the great thing about mediumship is if we have that sense of there are three of us here, there is the client, there is the medium, and then there is the one on the other side standing in the realm of higher self, then it is creating this triad of cohesion, and like the one on the other side needs the medium to anchor in and actually collaborate with us. Now that's happening also with channeling, but there's a sense of you participating in the process as a medium in a way that is really allowing human collaboration to come in. So sometimes like with mediums, it's like, she doesn't understand that. Can you get something else? You know what I mean? Like, so you're actually going, yo, try again, you know? So just you see how we can make it even more human and grounded if we're in mediumship. Then if we're in channeling, we can make it really fast, really flowy, really, a big download. Both have their beautiful capacities and purposes. So if flowing between them feels like something that is valuable to your client or through your own practice, let that happen. Blending them can provide that evidential comfort of mediumship and the healing authority and flow of channeling. Yeah. So, the applications of this, you could have standalone mediumship or channeling sessions within your therapeutic context. Let's say you're an intuitive coach and sometimes you use mediumship, excuse me, you're an intuitive coach. Sometimes you use meditation. Sometimes you do energy healing, and sometimes you do a little hypnosis. You do, within your intuitive coaching protocol. You can say, your sessions have been doing the way, and say, you know what, I think it might be good if you're open to it to dedicate the next session to mediumship or channeling, or your blended mediumship and channeling. Your clients will be like, ooh, so you could do the whole session that's really dedicated to that. Or you could even in the middle of a session, you're sensing, hey, there's a presence here. There's a message. You might say in the coaching, you're like, I want to know, are you open to, I'm sensing a presence. Does this seem like a good time to you? We can switch to mediumship, kind of just get their permission, right? Or just say, you know what, there's an angel here. I'm gonna go ahead and bring through that message. Okay. Okay. So you can blend it in. Maybe it's just 10 minutes of that particular session. Maybe the rest of that session turns into it. So standalone mediumship or channeling sessions in that therapeutic context, weaving it into larger healing sessions. And even as you do that, if it seems like you're about to switch into it, we're going to start mediumship. So just so you know, I'm going to bring through whoever is here. You can just sit back and relax. Also, just know that my eyes might be closed for this part. Maybe there's going to be silences here and there. Just let the energy settle. If that happens, I'll definitely come back and let you know when I'm speaking directly to you, or if it's mediumship, say, I'm going to be moving in. I might close my eyes sometimes to get a clearer image or understanding of what they're saying, but I'll also make eye contact with you again to see how that's working for you. So a mini pre-induction speech, and also just letting them know that when it's, I'll come back, fully, you'll be able to tell. So you can just sit back for some of this and I'll make eye contact when we're, together, full presence. You see what I mean? So weaving in that mini pre-induction speech and still having a formal closing segment when you're going to move to either more of the rest of the session or the end of the session. So blending these modalities, allowing flexibility, whether it's for that dedicated session or if it's woven into broader work, always anchoring it in the healing and that completion that you're helping your client to bring through. Oh, awesome. Sorry you had to leave, Holly. All right, everyone. I know we don't have a lot of time left, but I'm going to go ahead and invite who's ever here. If you have questions or anything you would like to connect on. Yeah, I had a lot to go through. That's why I was like, I'm going to go ahead and save it to the end. I hope that's okay with you guys, because I wanted to get this big fat package of lessons in. I'm gonna just shove this package into you guys. I'm so dirty. I'm so filthy and dirty. I've given you invitations if you want to come up. Lori. All right. Hi, Lori.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm tired. My
Oh,
husband fell and was in the ER yesterday,
oh no.
and he's recovering. He's okay, but I'm kind of worn out.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. What,
Yeah.
nothing broke or anything? Just,
His glasses, so
oh,
he cut like
oh,
here, here, he's got 20
oh,
stitches.
oh, that's
Yeah,
terrible.
it was pretty bad. And
Oh
it
gosh.
happened at 2:30 in the morning, and he didn't want to wake me. And
Oh,
so he waited till 9:30 in the morning when I woke up naturally.
oh no.
And so then they had to like clip off a little bit of the skin that died because
Oh
he
gosh.
didn't go soon enough. And so now he's going to have a bad scar because they had to
Oh.
stretch the skin. Anyway,
Mm.
you know, it,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
yeah, thanks.
Oh
It's
goodness.
a lot.
The other night I heard a gunshot and Brian was like asleep. And I know what a gunshot sounds like. I grew up in Texas. I know what gunshots sound like.
Yeah.
Grew up with guns in the house. I know what a car backfire sounds like. I know what a firework sounds like. And I know what a gunshot sounds like. So I heard it and I was like, Brian's like so asleep. And I was like, I'm gonna wake him. I was like, hey, I just heard a gunshot. I don't know. I just want to like kind of like touch with like kind of like better safe than sorry.
Right.
know? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he learned some lessons
Oh,
from
God.
this experience. Like, you're at an age now where you don't wait. Maybe
Yeah.
20 years ago you could wait, but
Yeah.
not anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and when I said nothing broke, I meant like also no bones. So that's good. All those 20 stitches is not good at all. It's
But really, so many worse things could have happened. So many.
yeah.
And really, it was quite a blessing that it was just that,
Mm,
and they were actually able to repair his glasses because he's about to get some major eye work done
okay.
with two different ophthalmologists, and he's ultimately going to end up with new glasses. So we didn't want to do something now because it's only in a month that he's seeing these other doctors. So
Yeah.
it really kind of was a blessing in that regard. He didn't break any bones or anything in the room where he fell, or it was on tile, and
Oh,
you
I
know
feel so sad though that he was he able to fall asleep with all that bleeding? I feel
so he went and got ice and got on the recliner on the couch and dozed while holding the ice on his face.
oh,
And I still haven't been able to clean up all the blood in the bathroom,
mm,
but he didn't get anything anywhere else. So that was impressive.
gosh.
I just can't believe he waited all that time.
I know. Yeah. That's wow. Well, yeah, I'm glad it was, you know, as good as it could be.
Right.
The worst part was the dude being a dumb dude. Lovingly, we say.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. How are you? Oh, look at your cute haircut, Andy. Yeah, nice, fresh.
I have a photo shoot on Friday for
Ah,
the book.
looks great. Yeah.
So actually I haven't even been here. I think since I got back. I'm
Well,
losing my mind.
we didn't have class last week, so
I know, but I don't think I've been here since like
before that.
July.
No, no, I saw you recently.
Okay.
Remember you were
Good.
gonna do Sacred Sphere, not this past Sunday,
Yes.
but the one before that. So the week,
Yes.
whatever meeting there was before that, you were like, "Oh, Sacred Sphere is gonna be hard," and I took it off your plate. Well,
Thank
Jamie
you.
took it off your plate,
Yes.
actually.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, everything's great. I have a photo shoot on Friday for the book, so I'm trying to get things done because you never want to like do your hair or anything like the day before a photo shoot. You want
Yeah.
it like you want time to fix it if you
Yeah.
need. So, yeah, there's that. And then I've officially brought on a second hypnotherapist in
Great.
my
Good.
practice.
Yeah.
somebody I went to school with. So that's phenomenal. And
Mhm.
she's already started taking some clients for me when they need reschedules. So
Great.
that's helping out a lot.
So great. It's really great, like, to collaborate anyway, you know what I mean? Like, it adds so much. So
Yeah.
that's great. Even if it's like you said, if it's a client that is gonna work with you more frequently, but then to have a session with her, like, that's pretty great, you know what I mean? Like, to
Well,
have a counterpoint every now and again.
so the way I run my practice is everyone is on recurring. Like,
Right.
I only
Mhm,
work with people long term. There's no
mhm,
contract or anything, but everybody is either at 2 or 3 sessions a month.
mhm,
So yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. Like, and we were practice partners in, at HMI and stuff. So
mhm,
like, I've done hypnosis with her and I know she's amazing. And I'm just
mhm,
sort of filling her in on how I use like ENP and how I talk about things, and basically just like the things that I've added on top. But yeah, that's how I'm pitching it, is like everybody basically gets like a second opinion,
mhm,
and they
mhm.
get, she's going to see things differently than I do, and she'll deliver differently than I do. And that's just going to benefit everybody. So,
Yeah, it's great.
it's really good, because I still have people asking to work with me. And I felt really bad that I was like, no, I'm
Yeah.
full.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great service to just be able to provide service because you know how people are. They get up the courage and they get the catalyst to actually want to do it, but then they think that you're the only one who can do it because you're the only one they've connected with. And you're like, "No, really it's this other." But if you're like really really saying, "No, this person works with me," then they're going to move forward, and that's good.
Yeah, I had a conversation with my sales coach today about, because a lot of what I do to get to bring clients in is speaking. And so she was talking about how in her business as well, right? She's changed everything she does, where when she talks, she's like, my team does this. I mean, if you think of like Tony Robbins, right, for coaches or whatever, like he
Mhm.
doesn't actually see people. Like, he's got hundreds of coaches
Yeah,
who work for him. And if you want to go work on the Tony Robbins type stuff, you you see one of them, you
right.
know.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying I'm like there yet. And we had an entire talk today
Yes,
actually
I'm
about,
saying it.
well, I'm not at the point where I don't want to be doing the work,
Yeah.
like, at all. And so I had an entire talk today. That's been one of my hardest parts of scaling, is that, you know, when you outsource things, it's so that you can do the parts that you really, really love. And I
Mhm.
was telling her, I'm like, but the part I really, really love is the work with the clients. And so, running it like a private practice, basically,
Mhm.
I'm booked every hour all day long, and I that's not sustainable. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, I just feel like I'm very in flux right now. We moved offices. I hired a new executive assistant who's managing everything. I had to get a new computer. We moved our task management system into a different one. And now I've hired a new hypnotherapist, and I have to teach her about my own client. Like, we're doing case conference, right, every
Ah,
Thursday.
yeah.
So I just feel like I have zero solid ground. Like, I have no idea where anything is or what I'm doing.
But you show up and you'll figure it out.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, that is how it's happening right
Yeah.
now, for sure.
Yeah, you do know when you show up, when you become present, you know what to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot. I hear you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what did you guys any thoughts or questions about the lessons today?
I
I
really
really,
enjoyed it.
Okay.
It
yeah.
it was great. I actually graduated a client today
Oh.
just before this class,
Mhm.
and I did a guided journey with her
Mhm.
to anchor all the things that she had learned, and we didn't know that she was going to end, but it kind of worked into that.
Mhm.
And so it just, I don't know, it was a great opportunity to just sort of integrate and blend in all the work that we had done together. And
Mhm.
she's kind of the perfect classic. I did the work, I got better, and now I'm fine. I don't need you anymore.
Ah, isn't that great? It's a great problem.
Yeah.
I know
Super.
that's what I always say to when I'm teaching at HMI. I'm like, "Hey guys, you have to like marketing and client acquisition is something you always have to think about because you have a wonderful problem. Your clients won't need you anymore. Or even if they do,
Right.
they might need you a lot less frequently,
Yeah.
or something like that. So, yeah, that's great. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Graduating a client is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my point in bringing that up was
Mhm.
that she's the one I think I talked about. We did a mock funeral.
Oh, yes.
And I was going to do some mediumship work with her.
Mhm.
But when we did an ancestral journey, and she talked to everybody herself.
Oh,
She didn't need me to do it. I was astounded. Like afterwards, I was like, well, were you able to connect? And she was like, well, there was like 50 people there. And my husband and my dad and my mom and my grandparent. She was just naming all these people and extended family and people I didn't know. And I don't know who they were supposed to be, but they were all there and they were just listening. And I had sort of described a thing for her. And so she didn't need me to do it. And that was pretty awesome,
That's
to
really
just
great.
let them have their own way of experiencing it.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. That's incredible. That's great. Beautiful work.
yeah.
So good. Yeah, I know, Lori, that you're really advanced as a medium and a channel. So, I don't know. I was like I hope this lesson still provided just something to consider or think about, even though
Sure.
it was also kind of an overview and a survey of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I like the structure. I mean, that's kind of how I resonate with things is I'm very structured.
Mhm.
So I really appreciated that part. And I had just started getting super sleepy when you got there. And I was like, oh, no, got to take notes. Waking up, write this down. Got to get that PDF.
Do you want that PDF of my
Yeah,
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, I didn't know if that would
sure.
Okay, I'll pop it in there just as a visual aid to reference. Now,
Yeah,
it's got a lot of specifics to my session, but, obviously things
right.
can be
Yeah, I
dropped
would
or
change
replaced or
that.
anything. Yeah. Uh-huh. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I usually, like today even, I don't even know why I said it to her, but I said before we started, while you're in this experience, if you feel stuck or if you have a question or if you just can't move forward with what we're doing, keep your eyes closed, keep your voice soft, but go ahead and speak to me
Mhm.
so you don't, lose what's going on. And she did.
Great.
And it really made it better. No one's ever done that with
That's great.
me.
Yeah.
And she really managed it very well. I don't think she realizes how intuitive she is. I mean, I taught her grounding, I think in our second session. And today, after we finished the whole thing, I had her ground it all down.
Mhm.
And she just went right into it and she knew how to do that and, integrated everything. It was really just very gratifying for me to
Beautiful.
watch her experience that.
Can I offer this not offer a little perspective about
Yeah.
that one piece? This was perfect for her, obviously.
Right.
She's very intuitive, as you said. Another client, if you feel like you can't move forward, that's actually a suggestion for them. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Yeah. If they aren't
Oh,
a
you're right.
sovereign, if they aren't a sovereign. So just again, it was perfect for her. It doesn't matter because she's so sovereign. Like that
Yeah.
didn't land as a suggestion for her. So what you
Right.
could say is if any time during the session you'd like a little extra support from me, maybe you want to
Okay.
move forward a little faster, or you just feel like, and then the rest of it's great. You can just
Yeah.
keep your eyes closed and softly say it. So just say
Yeah.
extra support because there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Nothing
Yeah. I had this
negating.
other client that I did a session with once, and we were trying to do inner self or something like that. And she saw nothing, but she said nothing.
Oh
And
yeah.
so
We can
I
use
went
both.
on and on and on, and she's seeing black.
Mhm.
And so she told me that afterwards we talked through it. And then a couple of weeks later, I tried to do something with her and I did a little like, okay, I'm going to ask you to see an apple in your mind's eye. Can you see
Mhm.
the apple? And she could. And I'm like, now I want you to see a knife. Can you see the knife cutting through the apple? So
Mhm.
I got that she could do that.
Yeah.
It was just this block about the inner self that she couldn't see
Yeah.
because of this trauma that we're trying to deal with. And she is very defended, highly,
So
highly defended.
that's great. So then if you need them to be creating visions for themselves. So it's like one thing you don't need them to because you're just going to say, just listen to my guidance. And as you're on a beach, and even remembering the time that you're on a beach, you don't need to confirm that they're seeing it, because they're just listening to you and they're going on the journey. You know what I mean? But if you
Yeah.
need them to see something, then you just pause and you say, and just give me a nod of your head if you're
Okay.
connecting with images. And if she's like, and you know, it's give me a nod, give me a yes, a nod of your head very gently, keeping your eyes closed, staying in this energy. And then if she said no, say, okay, great. Here in just and also like affirm, okay, great. That's great. So in just a moment, I'm going to ask you to use your voice to tell me what it is that you're experiencing. Just keep your eyes closed and keep your voice soft and tell me what you're noticing.
Mm.
And then she goes, it's just black. And then you go, okay, perfect. That's just great. Thank you. Good. Now here's the thing, or I don't see anything. Oh, okay, great. Good to know. Thank you. Well, here's the thing. Even when we think we're seeing nothing, that is something. So if you could describe the nothing, do you think you could have a sense of what that is? And you might keep her talking just a little bit
Right.
until she gets like, well, the nothing feels like cotton. And then you go, okay, great. Let's just move with that then. And then you be intuitive with it. Maybe you keep her talking, keep it
Yeah.
spoken, or maybe you have her stop talking and you take over. You know what I mean?
Okay. I did do another session with her after that where I tried to introduce her to a guide.
Mm-hmm.
And she was able to see the bottom of white robes and feet.
Cool.
And I was like,
Nice.
that's something. That
That's
is
great.
seriously something. I was very excited by that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have anything to add to that, Andy? Because, you know, obviously these are all hypnotherapeutic.
Yeah,
things.
no, I think you're you're exactly right. And you made me think about too how I say stuff like that, because I consider it a real benefit, because I saw this with a lot of the students when I was in class. I discovered a self-hypnosis tape when I was 10, and the beginning
Yeah.
of that tape told me it didn't matter, right? It was like, it doesn't matter if you pay attention, it doesn't matter if you fall asleep, it doesn't matter if you see things, it doesn't matter if you don't. Like
Mhm.
it doesn't, you can't do it wrong.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is one of the biggest reasons why clients stay with me, because, you know, yeah, I have so much of that. Like, no, I can't see anything, or I
Mhm.
couldn't stop my mind from spinning on my grocery list. And I'm like, great, that's perfect. We want your conscious mind distracted. Like,
Mhm.
that's probably even better, right?
Yeah.
And I know I've heard a lot of other students in a lot of case conferences get really, really worried about it.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
then of course clients get worried about it too, right?
Yeah.
So just
It's always just great. Perfect.
yeah,
Because it
that's it.
really is. Whatever
However
they're
you experience it is right and correct for you. It's
Mhm.
absolutely perfect for you.
But also there is no such thing as seeing nothing, and you don't say it to them that way.
Right.
You don't say it to them, there's no such thing as seeing nothing, but you say, "Oh, great, even when there's nothing, there's something to the nothing." So if you could describe the nothing, well, it's like black. Okay, good. And what quality of black is it? And if it had a texture, what would that be? And if you
Yes,
knew,
that I
what would be
love.
a
I'm going to use that.
texture? Yeah.
Well, just that idea of exploring the nothing, because I've not
Mhm.
done that, but I
Mhm.
have, you know, the corollary of that is I've got too much on my mind kind of thing. And I really have come to believe that, like, if you're spinning on your to-do list or something, like, it probably is related to what we're working on.
Yeah. Of
You know,
course.
especially in
Yeah.
my case, which is a lot of fear or, you know, anxiety. I work mostly with entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
So it is their to-do list that's bringing those things up. And I think
Mhm.
processing all of that in that hypnotic state actually does relieve, like, all of the attachment to that, you know, fight flight state. So
Mhm.
I really do believe that whatever comes up is meant to
Yeah.
come up, even if it doesn't make any sense.
Right. Right. And that's exactly the thing, like with the mediumship. Here's the thing, if something if they go, I don't know what that is. If we go like, oh, okay, you know, like it showed up for a reason. And you might sometimes have to present an evidence 2 or 3 times. You might then put it away and say, okay, well, we'll put that aside for now. But it doesn't mean that it was wrong. It means that right now, it's not in this very right now. Sometimes it shows up later in the session. Sometimes it shows up 5 days later. Sometimes it shows up 5 years later. But it showed up for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll
So,
also say, I'll echo Lori there. You know, I'm not a very structured person. I want to be a Virgo moon, but I, like, cannot. But my Aquarius head is just always in the air, and I'm not a very structured person. And that is something that actually I've been reflecting on the last, like, month or two, that I really appreciate about these lessons, is that this is stuff that I feel like for me has always lived in a very unstructured place in my head. And the lessons actually really bring a lot of structure so that I can slot it in a way that makes it usable.
Awesome.
So I really, really, really enjoyed the beginning, actually. You were talking about just like what is advanced mediumship and everything.
Mhm.
And you were talking about like connecting and becoming whole, and that all, you know, I forget exactly how you said it, but something like all fear, all whatever comes from, you know, feelings of separation and everything. But then you also mentioned that it's always a process of moving away from soul for experience and then back to soul for growth.
Mhm.
And that very much for me personally landed with the conversation I had with my coach today, and the like this new level of growth that is not only quantitatively different but qualitatively different, and I'm navigating that right now. And so just even that statement reminded me that there is like this push pull, and I
Yeah.
love that framework of like, oh yes, okay, I went out and experienced it, and now I've experienced so much, I've got to come back and I've got to
Mhm.
recenter and reimagine and, you know, and prepare for the growth. And so
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
yeah, anyway, I just wanted to mention I really do, as someone who's opposite of Lori, as someone who is completely unstructured, I enjoy the structure that actually gives me a way to use this.
Awesome. Well, good. Thank you for that, and I'm really, really glad to hear it. Yeah. There is this this channeling that I brought through. Gosh, I think it was 2018 or 19. I can't remember. And it's Archangel Michael and the Law of One. And do you know what I have? Did you hear that, Lori? Have you seen that, Lori, or heard
Yeah.
it? Yeah. So just to shorten it, in it, he's the message is about the primordial moment, basically when source energy sought to become or experience. So it was as if there was a copy made of itself, and they were looking at each other as if looking in a mirror. And that was lovely. And that looking into it is resonance, you know what I mean? Like feeling, and it's love already happening because there's something to love. And then they decided to do something different with the experiment where the one who was the copy, the second to the created one, looked away from the mirror. And the creator is still like fully gaze on the created one and completely giving all of its creative power. Like if this is a copy, then it has creative power too. So in looking away for even just a moment and coming back, and there was a lot of excitement, this experiment, there was like, whew, that was something new. And now this is being added to the relationship. And so then like this experiment extended. And now this one is a creator. So it's also creating. And then it's like, and then it was like, well, you know, come back to the
Fractals.
mirror. Come back, yeah, exactly, come back to the
Fractals.
look into the mirror. That's how you get, like you said, come home, reset. And then I also asked, like, well, when people depart and they don't look back, where do they think they're going? And is that there's nowhere to go. That's always you're always held. And I said, well, how do we resolve this? And he said, just hold the paradox of creator and created one, still also one. Just hold the paradox and come home and look into the mirror. So it is the experiment. It's the only way. Now we're having a certain kind of on this planet and as this kind of species, but still, yeah, it's
Yeah.
that is it.
So I'm having one of the coolest experiences I've ever had actually with a client right now.
Mhm.
I've had a client, I had she's an high emo that I've had for like 8-9 months now. And she finally has convinced her husband that he needed to come try it out because she's been telling him about it for ages. And so he did. But he's the fizz. So the change was like massive and instant.
Mhm.
And now she's pissed because she's like, he had this magical experience and like I don't have that. And it's so it's
Oops.
funny, but apparently it was his first experience in any way with meditation, with
Mhm.
anything spiritual whatsoever, like all this stuff. And so Like he literally texted me the next day and he was like, I am an entirely different person. Can I have another session right now? And I was like, no, you may not, but you may listen to the recording.
That's so fizz.
I know. And then the next time he did come in, he was like, he had gone down the rabbit hole. So he's like, have you heard of Bashar? Have you heard of like this? Have you heard of like everything? And so then he's starting to ask me,
That's
right?
awesome.
So like, where to go next? So he asked me about, what kind of, I don't remember how the question came up, but basically he's like, what do you think is going on? And like, I was like, well, I can share what I've experienced in my, in my own personal journey and how I think about it. And so we got onto this idea that, so I mean, we are the lucky souls that got a body. And I was trying to explain to him that like what I've experienced is that the entire point of this is for each of us to come down here and run a simulation on what it is like to be a human and add that piece of data to the collective consciousness.
Yeah.
Like, and he is a techie kind of guy or whatever. And I am too. And so I was using this whole, like, imagine you can run a simulation and you've got to run it 1,000 times to get a pattern. And like each one of us is one run of the simulation kind of thing and what it means to have a human experience. And he was just like, oh, like, that's brilliant. Like, so it is so funny because I'm sure you get this too, right? As a hypnotherapist, like, I don't get very many people who have not already gone down the rabbit hole a little bit before they get to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I definitely don't. Well, no, that's not true.
It's just really odd. Like referrals.
If they're referrals, that's why. Yeah. But if they found me any other way, well, also because a lot of referrals are also referring them because they're already down the rabbit hole. But yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so it's just this like, and I've only seen him twice, and he's just like, he's so excited and so into it, and he just can't wait, and it's so funny.
There's a movie. It's from 2012. I don't know why they're showing it. They're putting it in and I just watched about half of it. It's called Inner Worlds, Outer Worlds. It was made in 2012.
I've seen that pop up a bunch of times too.
Yeah. It's cool. Yeah. He would probably enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to I'll need to click on it the next time I see it. I feel like that was that a book? I feel like it's from a book. Yeah. But I don't remember.
I didn't look that up. It didn't say it in the beginning of the movie, but maybe it is. Yeah. Or maybe they made a book of it afterward. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's great. It's like all the things we talk about. And it's really, but it'll be really laid out nicely.
More people who like had no input at all ever and came and have like a massive transformation, and I could like show up again next time and be like, oh yeah, this is so easy.
They're just like a sponge ready to go into the water. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I'm like, have you heard of Abraham Hicks? And he's like, no.
He's like,
boy, watch out.
He was. I had to like write him a whole bunch of notes and stuff.
Yeah. That's super fun.
I gotta go.
Okay. Yeah. I gotta go too, but yeah. Thanks so
I'll
much
be in LA next week, Tricia.
Oh, okay. Well, reach out. Text me. You have my number. Text me after this.
Okay. I think I have your number.
I have yours. I'll text you. Okay. Bye, Lori. Bye, Andy. Bye, everyone else. Have a great night. Love you guys.